Hi, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Laurel. I'm Laurel, and in this video we're going to talk about the right triangle theorem. The right triangle theorem is officially called the Pythagorean Theorem, and it's an incredibly old theorem as well as an incredibly useful theorem. What I would like to do in this video is just introduce the theorem to you and show you how it's used. So we're going to start with the right triangle, which is a triangle that has a right angle, and a right angle is a 90-degree angle. We indicate a right angle with this symbol here. So this means that it's a 90-degree angle, and we call that a right angle. There's a relationship between all angles in any triangle that the sum of all the angles will be 180 degrees. So in a right triangle, because this is 90 degrees, that means that the two other angles will always have a sum of 90 degrees. And the other thing to note about a right triangle is that there's a relationship between the three sides of a right triangle that's very useful. We're going to call the legs of the right angle in the triangle A and B, and it doesn't matter which one is A and which one is B. Those are interchangeable. However, the side that's across from the right angle, which is the longest side of the triangle, will be called C. The official name of it is the hypotenuse, and we'll talk more about the hypotenuse when we get into the definitions of the different trig functions. But just realize for now that C, the side C, is always the one across from the right angle. A and B can be interchanged. We call this A and this B. That doesn't matter. The important thing is there's a theorem between these three sides which states that A squared plus B squared will equal C squared. And this will be true for every right triangle. If you know two sides of your right triangle, this theorem allows you to find the third side. So if, for example, we knew that this length is 6 units long and this length is 8 units long, we can use this theorem to find the length of the hypotenuse or the length of side C. We simply plug into our theorem. So 6 squared plus 8 squared will equal C squared. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. 36 plus 64 is 100. And what we're going to do is take the square root of both sides to solve this equation. Now normally if you have C squared equals 100, you would have a positive and a negative square root of 100 as an answer. However, because C is a distance, it's a length of a side, we're only interested in the positive square root. So my solution will be 10 units. So if this side is 6 units, this side is 8 units, then the hypotenuse or side C will be 10 units in length. Let's take a look at a couple more examples. In our next example, here's our right angle. It's indicated with that symbol. And we know we can call this A or this A, it doesn't matter. This is side A, this is side B, for example. What we're trying to find is side C. So again, we plug into our theorem. A squared plus B squared will equal C squared. 10 squared plus 7 squared is equal to C squared. So 100 plus 49 is equal to C squared. We add those, 149 is equal to C squared. Take the square root of both sides. We can either leave it exact or we can write it as a decimal value. It depends what you're using the answer for. If you actually want a length, then you might want to calculate what the square root of 149 is. Let's take a look at another example, but this time we know length C and we're trying to find length A or length B, whichever you call it. So remember, the side opposite the right angle is side C. So if this is A and that's B, we still have two sides. We're going to find that missing side using our theorem. So if I have A is 12, and if we call this B, we don't know its value. So 12 squared plus B squared will equal C squared, which is 13 squared. So 144 plus B squared will equal 169. Subtract 144 from both sides. Subtract 144, and we get 25. Again, we take the square root of both sides, positive square root only, so square root of 25 is 5. So this side must equal 5 for that particular triangle. So you'll notice sometimes you're going to get exact values, sometimes you're going to end up with radicals that you may or may not want to evaluate. It's entirely up to you. So that's the right triangle theorem. Spend some time practicing it. One thing I want to point out is side C should always be the longest side because it's across from the largest angle. 90-degree angle, these are both going to be less than 90 degrees. Therefore, these sides will be less than the hypotenuse. So give it a try, and then next video we're going to move on to the trig functions.